All right, everybody, what's going on? Everybody, welcome back to TTB Ravens Media on YouTube, bringing new Ravens content every single day. But if you're watching this on YouTube, you already see it. You see Joshua, so it's of course the Truzz the Bank Podcast. But you may also notice we've got a third person, in your viewing sphere. So do you want to introduce yourself from the Purple Rain Podcast?
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you so much. Just for having me on. It's your boy Sutton Def from the Purple Rain Podcast. Listen, man. If you want to go ahead and check out our channel, you can go and type in Purple Rain Podcast. You know, we talk all Ravens stuff. We talk NFL football. We also talk some MMA. So if you want to check that out, make sure you go ahead and check out Purple Rain Podcast. But big shout out to Truzz the Bank Media. I've been watching these guys for a while, and I'm so glad that I can come on the show. Big shout out to them for having me on.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun. I've been in your live streams, so, that's a lot of fun. So make sure to go check out those, everybody watching down below. I'll have a link to the channel down below. So make sure to go check all that stuff out. But we've got a good show planned out for everybody. Kind of the three segments we'll go through. We'll kind of play a bit of a game called Draft or Pass. I've got four players that that I've thought of and also seen in mock drafts, and whether or not we think the Ravens should draft on them, or if they're available, should we pass on them? Then we'll get into kind of just an Eric DeCosta, what should he do next? Should he wait, wait for the comp pick deadline? Should he make a quick signing? Should he pull a quick trade? Should he fire Greg Roman? The answer is yes. And then we'll get into the third segment, basically, which is going to be a fun, Ravens football segment, talking about the most underrated players to play for Baltimore. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So you can either listen to that on the podcast platform, which will be right out when you're listening to this on Sunday. But otherwise, the three segments will be posted back to back each day at 5 p.m. But let's get right into this first segment, Draft or Pass. And basically what this is I have done a lot of mock drafts. I do mock draft Monday every time. And there's some players that I've liked that I've drafted. But then I also see some guys that, whether it's Mel Kiper or other people, on the ESPN, the NFL.coms, and they're giving us mock drafts and they have us taking players. And some of them I'm not a big fan of, but I got to know what you guys are thinking. But the first player that we'll kind of go over is Kadarius Toney, wide receiver out of Florida. I believe Mel Kiper's first mock draft had the Ravens taking Toney. I've seen a lot of mock drafts with the Ravens taking Toney. 5'11", 189 pounds, like I said, out of Florida. I'm not a big fan of it just because he's small. I'm a height elitist right now with the wide receiver position. But Joshua, what are your kind of thoughts? Would you be okay with drafting Toney, or are you out?
So I think pretty much two of our fastest wide receivers is under 6 foot with Devin Duvernay and Holloway Brown. And honestly, in our scheme of offense, he's going to get treated like how Tavon Austin's career has been going in the NFL. Tavon, I love you. He's a Baltimore guy, one of the best athletes to come out of Baltimore, Maryland, with the Dunbar High School, West Virginia. Y'all know the story. Check him out on YouTube. Best highlights in college history. But I would have to pass for the simple fact that he's too much of a dynamic player. Yes. And also in the beginning of his University of Florida career, I think he had a problem where he missed a couple games at University of Florida because he wasn't being part of the Gator way. You can look it up, but I'm not too sure. So I know how we are as an organization when it comes to problematic players. We're not going to really, bite on that. And he's a fast guy. He's a very shifty guy. I mean, I definitely feel like if we was to bring him in, he will be a boost to our special teams. But as far as the creativity for the offensive scheme, his career is not. His career will probably be a bust playing with us if Greg Roman doesn't put no creativity in the offensive playbook. So yeah, I'm a pass on him.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would like to get this guy, but the pick that we would have to spend on him, I feel like we would probably be better suited spending that on somebody else, on like a different position, honestly. That's just me, though. I mean, like you said, 5'11", 189 or 180, something like that you said. That's not the type of build a receiver that Ravens fans are really looking for right now, clamoring for, or what we don't think that the Ravens need. We think that we need like a big, tall, possession type receiver, which I still feel like we do. But the problem about drafting a Kadarius Toney is that we kind of already have receivers like him. You know, he would kind of be like a gadget guy, kind of like serve the same kind of purpose that Devin Duvernay already serves. You know, so it's like, why stockpile those type of guys on our roster when we could be using those draft picks on things that we actually really need? You know, maybe like edge, or maybe like interior O-line, right tackle, that sort of thing. So I just don't think the ends justify the means when it comes to Kadarius Toney. So I'm gonna be a pass. I'm gonna pass on him.
Yeah, so all in agreement, Pat. And it's not that he's a bad prospect or whatever. You know, if he goes somewhere else, you know, he can thrive. It's just, it's just with the Ravens, Greg Roman runs the ball a lot and has no creativity, and we need size. But getting into the next guy, is a guy that I really, really fell in love with when I was doing mock drafts, kind of in the late day 2, round 3, round 4 type of player, and that's Charles Snowden, a linebacker out of Virginia, plays outside linebacker in a 3-4 scheme. Not an edge rusher by any means, more, you know, a run defender, athletic, can cover a little bit, but he's 6'6", 230 pounds, just a freak athlete, that showed, you know, with his length, he was able to get those tackles on the outside. And in my opinion, I would absolutely love to draft him, just because I see what he would bring to the Ravens is what it would be a better version of what, honestly, Matthew Judon was doing, because let's be realistic, Matthew Judon was not getting that type of pressure that we wanted from him, but he did set the edge. He did drop into coverage every once in a while. Charles Snowden would just be better in coverage, probably better at setting the edge, worse in the pass rush game, but he wouldn't be the edge rusher. He'd be the weak side, you know, kind of gadget piece that you could sub in and out with a guy like a Tyus Bowser of sorts. But those are kind of my thoughts on Snowden. I'm really high on him. He's probably the one that I'm the highest on of these 4 players. But what do you guys think about, you know, Charles Snowden out of Virginia?
You can go ahead, Izzy.
Yeah, man. I mean, honestly, when I was taking a look at some of his film and looking at, you know, some things in his draft profile, I really did like what I saw. I like the size. I like the build a lot, but the only thing about it is that, you know, he is a little bit undersized for that position. And on a lot of different plays, like say if he's rushing the quarterback, I could see him getting totally taken out of the play by a premier left tackle, you know, or somebody like that, or a left guard, whoever's going to end up blocking him coming around the outside. But I did see a lot of promise in terms of like his instincts, which I really do like a lot. Him playing in that 3-4 defense, he seems very comfortable, which is, you know, that's a defense that we play in a lot over in Baltimore for sure. So I'm kind of swaying both ways here. I feel like I would draft him if we can get him at the right time, you know. But for my official answer, I'm going to go ahead and say draft, because I feel like we could turn somebody like him. You bring him, listen, man, you bring him into the Ravens organization with that athletic training program. You can bulk him up. You can get him exactly where he needs to be. And that kid can turn into a star. So you know what? For all purposes, I'm going to go draft. I'm going to say draft him.
All right.
Back note about Kadarius Toney. Kadarius Toney said some of the best corners that he played against was J.C. Horn and Patrick Surtain.
Both guys that we like, Joshua.
Yeah.
Both guys, yes.
So now, Mr. Charles Snowden III, let's talk about him. Coming out of Silver Spring, Maryland, 6'7", 240, 230 pounds. Well, from his freshman year to his senior year, he's definitely progressed. I mean, he racked up about 121 tackles, about 30-something sacks total, about 2 interceptions. I mean, he knows how to get towards the ball. Great instincts. The thing that's going to separate him is his handwork, because, you know, like y'all guys said, he is undersized. But if he has quick, strong hands like an Aaron Donald, you know, he's going to throw a lot of tackles off balance, because, you know, at the end of the day, if you're a defensive end and you see how that tackle is positioned, you know what moves, how to take them out of position and get to the quarterback, or set the edge. Because, you know, I did watch his highlights as well. I love the way he set the edge. And shout out to my the freshman defensive tackle, Jamir Carter, that was pretty much helping him out. He's going to be a stud in the NFL. And his father, Ferron Carter, is Snowden's trainer as well. If you don't know about Ferron Carter got a lot of history. He actually was the strength and conditioning coach for the Ravens back in the 90s. So it's a lot of relationship right up in there. So I'm pretty sure Snowden is working out with him. But if Snowden bulks up, work on his hand speed, work on his hand strength, I can see him being a problem setting that edge, man. He's 6 and he's so lengthy. I mean, all you have to do is box out and set the edge. I don't need you to be the spectacular player. Set the edge. Malik Harrison or Patrick Queen is going to come up and swallow up that running back. Or, with him being 6'7", he can drop back, put his hands up. So it's so many different ways he can make himself a valuable asset on this Ravens team, especially playing with a Wink Martindale, the way we throw so many schemes at different teams. So, I'm definitely saying pass. Not pass. I'm saying grab. I didn't give him so much praise. We got to bring him on. I really feel like he's one of those diamond in the roughs. I think he played at the Senior Bowl. I don't know how he did, but just looking at him size-wise, looking at it, seeing that he can get from side to side, he knows how to make good tackles. He's a for sure tackler, and that's what we've been missing. A lot of guys always want to just throw their body at somebody and then they're going to knock dudes out. It's not like that no more. The Ray Lewis days are gone. So he's a for sure tackler for sure. I definitely would like to see him in the purple and black.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. And I think we'll do one more player, so then we don't take too long going over these guys. I think we'll do Brevin Jordan. The other player that we were going to talk about was Landon Dickerson, but he's a center. The least, even though it's like one of the most important positions for the Ravens to target, it's one of the least appealing positions to talk about. So let's talk about Brevin Jordan, a potential. I think he's a day 2 pick. Whether he goes late second, early third, even early second, is to be determined. Tight end out of Miami, bit undersized, but a very, very polished pass catcher. But do the Ravens need a tight end day 2? Is that something that y'all are looking for? Because we do have the weapon Josh Oliver, my favorite tight end for the Baltimore Ravens, coming over from Jacksonville, 3rd round pick out of San Jose State. But is Brevin Jordan, great prospect, but is it worth the value? That type of pick at that level to draft him?
Man, honestly, for me, I'm going to go ahead and say yeah. You got to take a look back at, what the Ravens did in the 2019 season with a lot of those 3 tight end sets, that feature Mark Andrews, Hayden Hurst, and Nick Boyle as well. That was a great time for our offense. Lamar looked like he was his most comfortable in passing situations when we were running a lot of those sets and concepts. So bringing in a guy like Brevin Jordan, 6'3", 245 pounds, he's really good off the line of scrimmage. When I was watching some of his tape and things like that, I feel like if you substitute him in for Mark Andrews, or you get both of those guys on the field at the same time, you can really start to see some big play potential because he's got some great hands. He's got to work on some drops. I did see some of that, but I just think that the danger that he could pose to defensive coordinators and opposing defense, they would have to respect that so much. And that would just open up even more opportunities, in our run game and stuff like that. Because if you have him lined up at the tight end position, you've got an extra linebacker in the for the other team, they're going to be having to shadow that guy. They have to shadow that guy.
Oh, yeah.
So if that's the case, then that may open up more opportunities for J.K. Dobbins to burst through that second level. And, I just think that tight ends are good for this Ravens offense in general. It's like a fruits and vegetables sort of thing. It's healthy for us. You know what I mean? The more tight ends, the better. So I'm going to go ahead and say draft.
All right. What are your thoughts, Joshua?
Well, McConnell, I saw some things that you may actually like. Guess what the man was doing in his highlights? He was catching in traffic. And he's actually holding on to the ball. Not only was he holding on to the ball, he was getting separation. I think they did a bubble screen to him, and he showed his athleticism, jumped over a couple guys. He doesn't mind taking those big hits. He doesn't mind putting his shoulder down and giving a big hit himself. So we've been missing that with Mark Andrews. We all know that when Mark usually is open, he's going to catch that ball. He's going to come down with it. But at the same time, if he's in traffic, it's like an 80-20. So bringing in a Brevin Jordan, I definitely feel like that would take a lot of pressure, not only off of Mark Andrews, it would take more pressure off of Lamar Jackson. Just like Izzy said, man, it will definitely open up the run game even more. So, yeah, if we don't plan on actually using wide receivers this year, let's go ahead and bring in another tight end. So I'm gonna say let's bring him on. I feel like he could be a possibly day 2, day 3 prospect, even though Mel Kiper, I believe, have him listed as number 4 in his tight ends list. So, hey,
man.
Number 4.
He also did go to University of Miami. That's tight end U. You guys know, and the Ravens, they're also good at developing tight ends as well. Another thing that I saw from Brevin Jordan.
Call him Miami tight end. You, as a Stanford football fan,
I know Stanford. Stanford's a close second.
I can't have it.
Second.
Austin Hooper, Levine Toilolo, Caden Smith. Man, Zach Ertz.
Zach
gotta
Ertz,
respect Miami's good. Miami's good, but I gotta say that Stanford is up there. But another thing I'll ask is I'm 100% pro adding a tight end.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite guy is an undrafted prospect, Samis Reyes, who, Joshua, I told you about him, a basketball player out of Chile, 6'6", 260 pounds, ran 4.6, did 31 reps on the bench at the Florida Pro Day. Dude is a stud. That's my guy who I want the Ravens to go get because, I mean, the Ravens can develop tight ends. But, what you bring up with the Mark Andrews, Hayden Hurst, Nick Boyle thing was, okay, Hayden Hurst, that was his second year in the NFL. Mark Andrews, that was his first year in the NFL. Nick Boyle, he's been there, but they can utilize those young tight ends. But I will say I am also a huge believer in Josh Oliver because he does make those catches over the middle, and he was a 3rd-round pick 2 years ago. He just went to – has Jacksonville ever had even a okay tight end in their history? They picked up Julius Thomas, out of Denver. So I just don't see Jacksonville as ever developing a tight end. So I think Josh Oliver actually could be a guy. And then we also have Breland out of Oregon. So I think that there are other guys at the tight end, but I'm pro adding a tight end to get the 3 tight end sets.
Right.
I'm just not a big fan. Well, if we sign, Justin Houston and we signed edge rushers and we fix all those holes, then I'm okay with it. But as of right now, I'm going to say pass.